Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to the 7th International Conference on Contemporary Management, conducted by the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna, Sri Lanka, under the spur of Jaffna University International Research Conference 2022, on the theme of transforming business for resilience in the new normal. A very, very warm welcome to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Satkunaraja, and a very kind welcome to our former Vice Chancellor, council members, and deans of the faculties. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to render a very special welcome to our keynote speaker, Professor Darshana Sedara, from Southern Cross University, Australia, who has joined with us today through virtual platform. And also, I would like to render a very special welcome to all the distinguished guests and the delegates who have joined with us from all parts of the island and different parts of the world as well. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, a very, very warm welcome to all those who have gathered here in this auditorium, because this is the first event we are celebrating in this auditorium after shifting to these new premises. And we hope and pray you'll have a good and an interesting conference today. Ladies and gentlemen, light is a symbol of truth. Darkness is merely the absence of light. And you can be that candle that defeats that darkness. To start this wonderful conference with the lighting of oil lamp, and to do the honors, may I kindly invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Satkunaraja, to light the oil lamp. And he will be followed by our former Vice Chancellor and the present Council member, our Emeritus Professor, Professor Balasundram Pillai. We also have with us Professor G. Mihundan, the Council member, and he will be followed by the acting librarian, Mr. K. Deeswaran, and ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us our former Vice Chancellor, Professor N. Shanmugalingan, to light the oil lamp. And may I kindly invite our bursar, Mr. K. Suresh Kumar. And he will be followed by Professor S. Kannadasan, Dean, Faculty of Graduate Studies. And ladies and gentlemen, we'd also like to be joined by Senior Professor P. Ravirajan, Dean, Faculty of Science. And he will be followed by the Dean, Faculty of Medicine, Professor R. Surendra Kumaran. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have Professor K. Sudhar, Dean, Faculty of Arts. And he will be followed by Dr. Mrs. S. Muralidharan, Dean, Faculty of Hindu Studies. And she will be followed by Mrs. D. Thabodaran, Dean, Faculty of Allied Health Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us Proctor of the University, Professor S. Vijayakumar. And he will be followed by our former Dean, retired Associate Professor, Mr. K. Devaraja. And he will be followed by our former Dean, Senior Professor T.V.L. Nambi. And ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly invite the Head, Department of Accounting, Mr. S. Balaputran. And he will be followed by Dr. Daneshwari Ravindran, Head, Department of Human Resources Management. And she will be followed by Mr. M. Karunanidhi, Head, Department of Marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us Dr. Mrs. Thiliban, Head, Department of Siddha Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us Mr. Viknesh, Vice Chairman, Chamber of Commerce and Yalpanam Industries. And he will be followed by Mr. E. Ratnam, retired staff of Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. And he will be followed by Dr. K. Sivaraja, retired staff of Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd also like to be joined by the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Balasundram Nimaladasan. And he will be followed by the Assistant Registrar of the Faculty, Mrs. Rishangi Kesavan. And may I kindly invite the convener of ICCM 2022, Dr. S. Achudan. And also, may I kindly invite the President of Management Studies and Commerce Alumni Association, Mrs. Vasuhi Udayakumar. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sachat Parabrahma, Dasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Yes, Ramanathan Academic team wants to praise and welcome you all. Now I invite Ramanathan Academic team to present the welcome dance performance. So ladies and gentlemen, hold your breath and welcome them on stage.
श्री गणेश शरणं गजानन श्री गणेश शरणं गजानन देव मुनिवर बनियुं दयावरा श्री गणेश शरणं गजानन देव मुनिवर बनियुं दयावरा श्री गणेश शरणं நாகாபரணனே நாமரை போற்றும் நாகாபரணனே நாமரை போற்றும் நாமனே பிரணவ ரூபனே ஜய ஜய நாமனே பிரணவ ரூபனே ஜய 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 ஸ்ரீ கணேச சரணோ गजानन देव मुनिवर बनियुं दयावरा श्री गणेश शरणं शरणं पादनम्बु रामदास वरदने पादनम्बु रामदास वरदने मोदक प्रियने गौरी सुरने पादनम्बु रामदास वरदने मोदक प्रियने गौरी सुरने आदिदेवने अरुளில்லையே ஆதிதேவனின் அருளில்லையே வேதனும் மானும் சீதொழில் உண்டோ வேதனும் மானும் சீதொழில் உண்டோ ஸ்ரீ கணேச சரணம் गजानन देव मुनिवर बनियुं दयावरा श्री गणेश शरणं शरणं तजं तगजं तकिटजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं दरितजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं दरितजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं दरितजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं तगजं तगजं जं दरितजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं तनजं जं दरितजं जं तजं तगजं तकिटजं तगजं तगजं தஜம் தனம் தரும் ததி தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் தகஜம் தகடஜம் தகதினதஜம் தனம் தரும் ததி தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் ததிங்கனதும் தஜம் தகஜம் தகடஜம் உலகெல்லாம் உணர்ந்து ஓதற்கரியவன் உலகெல்லாம் உணர்ந்து ஓதற்கரியவன் நிலவுலாவி அழகில் சோதியம் அழகில் சோதியன் அம்பலத்தாடுவார் மலசீலோம்படி வதிவனன் மலசீலம் படி வாழ்த்திவனன் மலசீலம் படி வாழ்த்திவனன் ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம். 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 காலம் தின்றதேனும் தொழில்கள் அனைத்தையும் கொரோனா கொன்றதேயம் கனவுகளை வாழ்வினை மீண்டும் தொடர் ஆயுதம் செய்வோம், நல்ல காகிதம் செய்வோம், ஆலைகள் வைப்போம், கல்வி சாலைகள் வைப்போம், ஆலைகள் வைப்போம், கல்வி சாலைகள் வைப்போம், தலை சாயுதல் செய்யோம், உண்மைகள் சொல்வோம், பல வன்மைகள் செய்வோம், உண்மைகள் சொல்வோம், பல வன்மைகள் செய்வோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம். காவியம் செய்வோம், நல்ல காடு வளர்ப்போம், காவியம் செய்வோம், நல்ல காடு வளர்ப்போம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், காவியம் செய்வோம், நல்ல காடு வளர்ப்போம், கலை வளர்ப்போம், கலை வளர்ப்போம், கலை வளர்ப்போம், கலை வளர்ப்போம், நல்ல கொள்ளருளை வளர்ப்போம், ஓவியம் செய்வோம், நல்ல ஊசிகள் செய்வோம், ஓவியம் செய்வோம், நல்ல ஊசிகள் செய்வோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், குடைகள் செய்வோம், உடுபடைகள் செய்வோம், கோணிகள் செய்வோம், இரும்பாணிகள் செய்வோம், நடையும் பரப்பு முனல் வண்டிகள் செய்வோம், நடையும் பரப்பு முனல் வண்டிகள் செய்வோம், ஞானம் நடுங்க வரும் கப்பல்கள் செய்வோம், ஞானம் நடுங்க வரும் கப்பல்கள் செய்வோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், உலகத் தொழில் அனைத்தும் உவந்து செய்வோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம், ஆயினும் நாம் சும்மா இருக்க மாட்டோம்.
That was a beautiful and wonderful performance by the Ramanathan Academy and finance students. You guys gave a good start to this wonderful ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, now may I kindly invite the following dignitaries to take their seats on stage. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Satkunaraja, our Dean, Professor Balasundram Nimaladasan, the convener of ICCM 2022, Dr. S. Achudan, and the Chief Editor of ICCM 2022, Mrs. Priya Muralidharan. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly invite Dr. Sadhana Vaikundavasan, Senior Lecturer attached to Department of Marketing, to address the gathering. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. ICCM 2022, Transforming Business for Resilience in the New Normal. On behalf of Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, I would like to express my great pleasure in welcoming all of you and in hosting 7th International Conference on Contemporary Management 2022, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna. First of all, it's my immense pleasure in welcoming our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Satkunaraja, for this 7th International Conference. Then I extend a hearty welcome to Emeritus Professor, former Vice Chancellor P. Balasundaram Pillai. Then I extend a hearty welcome to our Professor B. Nimaladasan, Dean, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. Convener of ICCM 2022, Dr. S. Achyutan. He is a key person for the success of ICCM. I cordially welcome Dr. Achyutan. Another special guest, a warm welcome to the keynote speaker, Professor Dassana Sedera, Professor in Information System, who is attending from Southern Cross University, Gold Coast, Australia, to disseminate his knowledge and enhance our mental horizon. I extend a hearty welcome Mr. K. Suresh Kumar, Bursar, University of Jaffna. A hearty welcome to Acting Librarian Mr. K. Deeswaran. I would like to extend my great pleasure to welcome Dean Graduate Faculty, Professor S. Kannadasan, Dean Science, Senior Professor P. Ravirajan, Dean Medicine, Professor R. Surendra Kumaran, Dean Arts, Professor K. Sudhagar, Dean Hindu Studies, Dr. S. Sri Muralidharan, and Dean Allied Health, Mrs. D. Tabodharan. I wish to extend my hearty welcome to Proctor of the University, Professor S. Vijayakumar. A hearty welcome to Mr. Vignesh, Chamber of Commerce and Jalpanam of Industries. A warm welcome for former Dean, retired Professor Mr. K. Devaraja, and former Dean, Senior Professor T. Velnambi. We are honored by your presence. A hearty welcome to our heads of departments, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. A warm welcome to our Assistant Registrar, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. I would like to welcome professors, senior lecturers, and staffs of our faculty. A special guest today, retired senior staffs, Dr. K. Sivaraja and E. Radnam. A warm welcome to them. Another important person, President, Management Studies and Commerce, Alumni Association, Mrs. Vasugi Udayakumar. A warm welcome to her. A warm welcome to our staffs and the students of Ramanathan Academy of Fine Arts performed a fantastic dance program today. There will be plenty of knowledge enhancing presentation by research scholars today. The chairpersons, they are going to judge these presentations. A warm welcome to them. I extend a Pleasant welcome to students and guests of the ICCM today. Finally, formally welcome all the research scholars for giving us a gift of virtual presentation here this evening. I wish you every success with this imperative conference. I hope, as per our agenda, our upcoming event today will be full of learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. S. Vaikundavasan, for your welcome address. Your warm and friendly reception was awesome, madam. Now I call upon Dr. S. Achudan, convener ICCM 2022, to deliver his address. Achudan, your efforts lately have not gone unnoticed. You keep impressing all with your hard work. We really appreciate how reliable you are. Your contribution for this ICCM were amazing. You really outdid yourself. This is over to you, Achudan.
So good morning, all of you. The Vice Chancellor, respected Sir Professor S. Sri Sakunaraja, our Dean, Professor B. Nimaladasan, professors, librarian, Bursa, senior lecturers, early career researchers, staff members, both executive and admin related staff members of University of Jaffna, my dear students and friends. I'm delighted to welcome you all for our International Conference on Contemporary Management. That's the flagship conference series of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce. I know our ICCM is getting more prominence among scholars in the field of business and management in Sri Lankan context. There is no doubt on it. I agree, we still have room for improvement to meet the global standard. We are trying our level best to meet such standard in near future. This time, it's our great pleasure to join under the new platform as Jaffna University International Research Conference. As you know, University of Jaffna developed a framework on how to host and organize the conference in a manner to meet the global standard. I really appreciate our Vice Chancellor who developed and initiated the concept of policy framework on the conference and as well as how to conduct the conference in a manner that enhance the quality. So based on the policy framework, we focused on 3 pillars. The one is quality concern, that is under the rigorous review process, and also concern about the social impact. Then finally, the social impact through contributions. So altogether, our ICCM 2022 really focus on the theme transforming the business for resilience in the new normal. There are key words that we can extract from that particular theme. The one is resilience, then new normal, and transformation. So the key aspect here is the resilience. Just why not? The concept has been applied in various disciplines, including sociology, like social resilience, then cultural resilience, the medical resilience, technological resilience. Why not? That is also applicable in our field, the business resilience. So this is our focal point. That's what we focused on this theme as a conference, the fundamental aspects. So as you know, we have been experiencing so many challenges in terms of the global pandemic, economic crisis, the tension between Pakistan and India, and as well as tension between Pakistan and other the closed countries in South Asia, and today we are experiencing the corrupted political system in Sri Lanka. So there are so many challenges. Despite these challenges, we have to emerge from those things in a manner we succeed. So we can also take our conference as an example for the resilience. As you know that, when we scheduled the meeting of ICCM, we encountered so many problems, especially power cut and the power outage. But we managed. There is no postponement. There is no extension. We succeeded in the manner that we have today, right now. As you know that, so we have a strategic alliances between Emerald Publishing and other professional bodies like IBSL, CA Sri Lanka, ACCA, CFA Sri Lanka, and the SLIM. The fortunate event that we are planning to conduct a post-conference workshop on how to publish in a higher tier journals. This is not a field specific, so whatever the field, you can also really join through the webinar. So we have circulated the particular event through our website, it means faculty website, and ICCM URL and other approaches like social media network like Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you are interested, please join through that level. So you have an opportunity to learn how to target the journal, what's the difference between predatory and open access. So what are the ways we can go for to draft the article, it means the structure of the article that can win the reviewer's heart, finally go for the publication in a top tier journals. Meantime, I need to appreciate our keynote speaker from Southern Cross University. So one of the extractions I have to denote here from the Australian Research Council, is a top body in Australia, especially under the Research Institute. So as per the Australian Research Council independent assessment, the Professor Sadare is a well-known and well-published academic in the field of information system. I extracted from the report in Australian Research Council as per the independent assessment. So he has several positions in Southern Cross: Executive Dean, Faculty of Business Arts and Law, the Director, Digital Enterprise Lab, and also he served as a professor in various academic related positions in top-rated universities in Australia like Monash, Queensland University of Technology, Swinburne University of Technology, and RMIT. He is really focusing on the transformation. It means the digital transformation. As you know that the information technology is transforming the traditional discipline like information technology transform mathematics, so statistics, and we have data science. The information technology transform our business. That's what we are calling as business technology management, like the medical informatics and bioinformatics. So today, I hope that we will have the fruitful and constructive presentation from our keynote speaker. And as for the review process of our conference, there are 74 extended abstracts we received. Then out of 74, 3 were rejected, and we sent 71 for the review. Then out of 71, only we accepted 43. The acceptance rate is 58%. It ensures the quality of this process. I don't want to exaggerate the review process. I know we still have room for improvement to meet the global standard. Meantime, I am obliged to thank our Vice Chancellor and the Dean of the Faculty for their hard work and the moral support towards the success of this event. Finally, I would like to thank our former Dean, Professor T.Well Nambi, who initiated the concept of ICCM, and our former founder members of our faculty, retired Professor Nadaraja Sundaram, and Professor Devaraja, Mr. K.K. Arulwal, Mr. E. Ratnam, and Dr. Sivaraja, for your blessing and the support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful convener address. And it's really happy to see that beautiful smile on your face finally, as you had so many sleepless nights in making this event a wonderful one. Thank you so much, and thank you for your guidance and support as well. Ladies and gentlemen, visionary leaders see the world differently. We have our leader, our dean, Professor Balasundram Nimaladasan, who always likes to turn the vision into reality, no matter whatever happens or what challenges he faces. And that's why we are celebrating this 7th International Conference on this date without postponing it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our Dean, Professor Balasundram Nimaladasan, to address the gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grace, for your motivation address about me. Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolandu Sri Sekundaraya, sir. Former Vice Chancellors, Professor Emeritus Professor Balasundram Pillai, sir. Professor N. Sanmulingan, sir. Senior Professor Ravi Rajan, Dean Science. Professor Sudhagar, Dean Arts. Professor Kannadasan, Dean Graduate Studies. Professor Surendra Kumaran, Dean Medicine. Mrs. Tabodaran, Dean Faculty of Allied Health Sciences. Dr. Mrs. Muralidharan, Dean Hindu Studies. Professor G. Migundan, Council Members. Mr. K. Swaran, Acting Librarian. Professor S. Vijay Kumar, Proctor, and Heads of Department, Professors, former Deans, Senior Professor T. Vel Nambi, and Deputy Registrars, Assistant Registrars, and Assistant Registrar of the Faculty, and academic staff of the faculty, academic support staff, and very good morning and welcome to the 7th International Conference on Contemporary Management under the sphere of Jaffna University use. The Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce was established in the year 29th of May 1999. Just we have about 22 years old, and this is the first event. We shifted from our main premises to the 10th lane Kalasala Road, Tirunelveli, and we are celebrating the 7th International Conference under the sphere of Jaffna University International Conference JUICE 2022. This Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce is a knowledging partner of the University of Jaffna, where we commenced adding new knowledge in the year 2014, that is International Conference on Contemporary Management under the leadership of former Dean, Senior Professor T. Vel Nambi. And we followed 2015 and 16, 17, 19, 21 and 22. This is the 7th International Conference under the theme of transforming business resilience in the new normal. Basically, the business always disturbance, where we are living in uncertainty. However, this whatever we are getting the disturbance, we should balancing the resilience that invest in the building and manage to grow up uninterrupted. Basically, we focus emerge stronger and resilient from each of these scenarios. Many new normal scenarios have been created in terms of business model, transformational model, and technological trends, and evolving the customer experiences. Therefore, we need to design more strategies, policies, and transforming this business resilience in the new normal. In this regard, the theme of ICCM, our team, the convener and his team, they found the theme as transforming business for resilience in the new normal. To reach initiative of this conference, we inducted researchers in accounting and finance, marketing and supply chain, entrepreneurship and innovation, tourism and hospitality, human resource management, organizational studies, learning culture, society, and in addition to that, we have a part of this, our conference, we have Students Research Symposium. We have invited research papers from our students. We have one of these Students Research Symposium. We received then now we have 8% of the acceptance rate in the proceeding. So this is a remarkable for us, making this quality concern to make this proceeding and make this. So you know this, we are facing economic crisis. However, we have scheduled to have this conference 14th of July, and we have a meeting. The staff, I really thank and bless everyone, our staff, because our policy is no postpone. My school also made us to no postpone. Therefore, we have an international conference on scheduled rate without any, we face a lot of challenges, issues us. Morning also we have issues us, but however, we managed to have this conference on scheduled date. I really thank my dear staff members for supporting and contributing for making this ICCM on time. And ICCM 2022 owes to sincere credit to our keynote speaker, Professor Darsana Sedara, Professor in Information System, Southern Cross University, Gold Coast, Australia, who contribute to the success of this one as a keynote speaker. Further, I am also very much grateful to our academic partner, Emerald Publishing, professional partners in the Institute of Business, Banking and Bankers of Sri Lanka, Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, Association of Certified Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, Chartered Financial Association Society of Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing for their professional partnership with us. We express our sincere gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, always he directed and guided us to make this quality concern. So we have done as much during this economic crisis, we made this as best one. And also I really thank Registrar, Bursar of the University of Jaffna, Deans of the faculties, Heads of the department, delegates, reviewers, chairpersons, media persons, staff members, and students of the faculty for making this great event on a scheduled date. And with the best wishes, may God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your remarkable thoughts. Symaco Institutions Ranking 2021 placed Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna as #1 in Sri Lanka in the domain of business, management, and accounting. The most wonderful thing that has ever happened under your leadership, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Professor S. Sri Satkunaraja, Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, to deliver his address. Sir, as you are the role model for all of us, and you have been a great strength of these institutions, it would be our pleasure to listen to your precious words, and it will motivate us. Is it over to you, sir?
Okay. இல்லாமை சொல்லி ஒருவர்தம்பாற் சென்று இழிவுபட்டு நில்லாமை நினைவிரேல் நித்தம் நீடுதவம் கல்லாமை கற்ற கைவர்தம்பால் ஒரு காலத்திலும் செல்லாமை வைத்த திருவுரை பாதங்கள் சேர்மின்களே. So time is the greatest influence of nature on the human beings. So this is a maiden occasion for this hall. I would say hall, it's not auditorium. The design look a shrine. I feel like I am in a chaplaincy or some prayer hall because the roof and the setup is being like that. When you see from the stage, you can feel it. So it's a maiden event. It's a remarkable event because the first time we are conducting these faculty conferences as a one umbrella organization, the Youth 2022. The Youth was inaugurated in 2012. At that time, your dean was a young baby running around, and he was a joint editor, and he was in the action committee. So actually, it's a blessing. This building is examples of resilience, because from our Bursa knows, and our Capital Works new AR is here, but old ARS knows. We built this building during the Corona time. Most of the people are in a lockdown. Lockdown means real lockdown. Even the faculty staff were not here. So that's an example of resilience. So I think Suresh knows how particular contractors came here and built this during the contract time without even the money from the central treasury. So time is in the modern, the wisdom, time is lateral. So it's running. So after death of disappearance of Jesus, now in 2022. So it will scroll. But according to the universal wisdom, time is cycling. So we are in the age of Kali Yuga. So there are 4 yugas. Satya Yuga, the quality is the truth, and the method is the meditation. Then we had a Tireda Yuga, the quality goes down, but still the kings are benevolent, good. So that Tireda Yuga. Then Tuabara Yuga, even the king's qualities goes down. You know Duryodhana, what happened. So they don't want to do the fair share to the other people. Then the 5,000 years ago, the Kali Yuga started. The Kali Yuga, the Jesus came after 3,000 years of the Kali Yuga. Then he fought. Then he said, very often he said, the Kali Yuga is the age of hypocrisy. Solvadundu, Seivadundu. Padipadu Varam, Idipadu Sivangoil. So the age of hypocrisy is from the top to bottom. Even fake publication is a big thing we had to challenge in this university. In all over the place. Top to bottom is hypocrisy. So at that time, but I think Professor Balasundaramula used to say this, the 21st century is a knowledge-based century. Today, our keynote speaker is an information system man. So Professor Sedara is going to speak about this COVID pandemic, new normal. Now in Sri Lanka we got another normal. It's a catastrophe. That's in the dynamical system, that's a word we use. Because since, just imagine the resilience, how it should be taught. Say 4 billion years ago, no sun. 4 billion years ago, no sun. 300 years ago, no United States, no dollar. 300 years ago. Okay? The Washington actually united all the states only in the 18th century. So no United States. Even Sedera is going to come from Australia. It's only 200 years old. Again, in the invention of science, today new clean technology people are here. Ravi Rajan is, I think today evening I am going to release first semester results of the Master of Science in Clean Technology. No electricity 250 years ago. Okay, during the Second World War time, we found transistor in the 1950s. No transistor before 1950s. No microprocessors before 1960. Your faculty is now 22 years old. Even Google was not there before 1998. Can you live without Google now? So Google was not exist. 1998. So this is the fast moving world. Now we are like urbans, no managers. Everyone is wondering who is going to manage us. So without management, our country is supposed to run. So today in the morning, even Professor Balasubramanian said this. So we are the bureaucrats, we have to run the place. It's like a no man land now, Sri Lanka. During the LTT government fight, there were no man land during the Tandikulam area. And some other area, no man land. There is some uncontrolled areas. Now the whole country is uncontrolled. There is no man land. Somebody can say you are making a statement, you should be killed. That's the way the country is running now. Yes, yes. It's no man land, no control. But no, I don't know whether treasury money come. I am suppose you are manager. I can't put the leave and run. So this is the situation. So that's the resilience is coming a big play. I think it's something our faculty of management and science or management studies and commerce thought of this title during the difficult time. We never thought this is going to be difficult like this. So in the dynamical system, when thing goes into evolution, after some stage, the threshold reach, it may come back to the earlier position or sometime go to another scenario that is called catastrophe. It's a disastrous scenario. So if you pull the rubber band like this, if you leave it, it go back, go back, go back. But if you leave after this, it will go to another place. So that's what happened in this country. So it can go on to the level of unbearable level of pain, unbearable level of loading. So these all happened to us. So in the whatever happened in this time, but the whole world is operating knowledge base. We can't reverse the trend, the global trend. So that's what in this faculty you have around 57 academic staff and 30 non-academic staff or non-academic or support staff. You have been doing wonders because even this year we are getting around 550 new students, the cream of the cream, coming to this faculty to get trained. And their training, actually one of the graduate profile for those we are intended to give is the global passport, so that they could go anywhere in the world and settle and work like our Professor Sedera. So they could go to anywhere. He's in the Gold Coast, one of the best part of the world. Gold Coast in the Brisbane is the best part of the world. Even some of our students are in Switzerland, some of the students are in California, some of the students are in Paris. So this is what we could do, this small place, in one of the most humble area in Tirunelveli. You know, they are coming here for us to induct them and give them the global passport so that, you know, I congratulate you because your dean actually came from, got trained in a university, we may say Bangladesh, but there Muhammad Yunus got the Nobel Prize for thinking innovatively. So why I am saying the 21st century is important for knowledge base, because we have to generate ideas. Today in the world, the top country, doing industrially well, even in the Europe, wouldn't have any resources. And also they were defeated during the Second World War and broke into two parts. Now we had a bond running between the medical faculty and some other areas in Jaffna, and they had a Berlin Wall built from 1950s, 48 till 80s. The country was segregated, but that country, even COVID time, million of employees in the Benz and Volkswagen, they had the resilience, they had their financial management, no resources. Australia, different story, it's a second world, is running on the resources, not with the industries. So here in Jaffna, I think we are thanking to our early experience. In the 1990s, I know Professor Devaraja and all the team were here, Ratnam and all these people were here. At that time, how did we operate? Without any assistance from, even a drop of petrol is like a blessing. At least now we are getting some share. At the time, no share. But University of Jaffna had an enviable record of running, never been this university is closed. But now, those staff who have been witness all this, now we are asking for closure. It's a sad story. Never been closed. Lot of sacrifice. Without sacrifice, there's no dharma. So in the Kali Yuga dharma, it goes to the top people in the pyramid. That is called intellectual. They create ideas. They create ideas, how to encounter these areas. That's what the conference being a big place. I tell you, as a human beings, this machine is the best machine ever created. And also this machine is not mechanical machine. Joints are there, but there is no bolts and nuts. Things are operating. There's blood is getting pumped continuously. There's no motor. There's no motor. The heart is pumping. We don't know how it's pumping. Doctors know certain things, but not complete control over it. So this machine is created for what purpose? People think in this management faculty about the root cause analysis. They do parameters, then put it in the computers, and they take some principal component analysis and they say these are the components. No. Every single parameter plays a role. Every single parameter plays a role. Every atom obeys certain rules. That's the way our body is composed. I myself, one day I was a single embryo. Now I expanded. The formula was there. The banyan tree, the seed is so small. The formula is there. So what is our role? What is our role? The formulas are there. Every kid is supposed to thrive. Every human is supposed to enjoy their life. The Lord Buddha said, what is the path to happiness? What is the path to happiness? He said, happiness is the path to happiness. So every day is supposed to be think very positively and enjoy our life. But today's celebration, in the annals of year of activities in the Faculty of Management and Commerce, today's activity is we come together with the national community, international community, professors, Sedara-like people, coming together to share not only the wisdom and the knowledge, to make it conscious about all this. So a lot of discussion will take place. Even in, I know, in Buddhism they always say, first begin their prayers, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. What does that mean? Sangham Saranam, Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. So the proceeding is there, that is Dhammam. So many papers are going to be published, Emerald publisher is going to come. Then the Sangham, I know Professor Visaruban is here, Sangham Amethu Tamil Valattadan. So this conference is Sangham. It's not a new thing. Today, I really want to congratulate your dean and your faculty members. Only 50 of them, not only for this conference. Recently, I have been coming to the faculty all the time to sign MOUs. Today, I see the partners. Institute of Bankers of Sri Lanka, Chartered Accountants Association of Sri Lanka, Association of this ACCA, right? Again, a Chartered Accountants, Certified Chartered Accountants Institute, and Institute of Sri Lankan Marketing Institute of Science. So we have been signing. So now we are thinking it's a high time to lift our faculty to, to interact with our professional association and give that blend of experience to our undergrad. For that purpose, our dean and the faculty staff have been working tirelessly. Thank you very much for your efforts in that respect. And more than that, now the faculty is 21 years old. That is the crunch of the time. Because the third generation of people are here. The first generation of people, okay, Devaraya sir, Ratnam sir, and all these people come from other universities, Vittodaya, Vidyalangar, and Kelaniya. And then the second generation, they come from commerce to management. Okay, this Professor Velnambi and all these people come. Their students now become a dean. And their students also now taken up, even Professor Nimaladasan's students also now taken up the mantle to carry this faculty. And a new recruit of staff, I have seen they are just students of the present heads and generation. So what does that mean? Always we believe, I always believe my son is better than myself because the exposure he has and the amount of competition he has and the world of knowledge pumping in from the palm as an information system. Information highways are open. So it's a wonderful, thriving opportunity for the people. Always is the case. We are evolving. Even maybe the most of the saints, they are envious of us because they had to work very hard, meditate for long, long years to achieve certain facilities what we enjoy now. Even yesterday I was watching a football match or cricket match just from my home in a remote. I don't think anyone in the previous generation had this opportunity. It's a wonderful thing. In the YouTube, we download any top lectures, TED Talks. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Information highway is open. At the same time, we also look at the VC media now. How do they do? A collection of people. They are not taken up as a big people in our university earlier. Only we thought, we were teaching ICT only in the boards. Now the ICT people, right, technical level, even below technical level, delivering the top service. This service, if you want to rent, you have to pay millions. You have to pay millions, I tell you. We have to pay millions. So this is what's happening in this world. So I think we had to dance. Then only RFA came here, shown some of the big articulative, emotional, expressions. We have been singing Ulagalamulandoda carry on all the time in the life. But how do? They book another alum. So the former vice chancellors are here. They have been now witnessing. It's a different scenario altogether. Because they have been shouldering this place for a long time, particular way. Now it is our time, irrespective of circumstances. Because I told you, time is cycling. Kali Yuga, when it go further and further, more sort of problem going to come. Either come in corona, either deceptive leaders, fraudulent society, bribery, corruption. Even during this problem, the collapse of all the financial system, when they were being asked to deliver some essential goods, ministers asking for commissions. This is scenario. This has been reported. So how bad it is, the governance. So at that time, our students, our leaders, we had to look at the real root cause. Real root cause only we can put in one word. Real root cause for the entire problem in the world is one word: greediness. More grain in the world, more fruits in the world, more fish in the world. But we divided into world, into borders and barriers and tariffs, and all this happened. Again, we create a problem like a dollar problem. That is, that country is only 300 years old. But our country is 3,000 years old. Even I checked in the web yesterday, the first human beings, you know, the sediment we found, 38,000 years sediment we found in Sri Lanka. Even the present human being, only according to science, 40,000 years. Even 38,000 years sediments are found in Sri Lanka. That's a wonderful country. But this country has been known for demonic behaviors. So many demons lived in this country, according to the scriptures. Asuras. So this quality has to go. I think our lecturers, students and teachers has to show some exemplary qualities. At least even most of the people individually having problem, they come to burden to the society. Like our former Vice Chancellor, 80 years old, moving like a boy. Sanmalingan sir, I don't think he does carry clinic cards. So these people consuming less. Most people having a problem consuming more. So here our country had a traffic jam. We couldn't go anywhere because of too much of traffic. So we are consuming number of mobile phones is more than the number of people in this country. Number of motorbikes in Jaffna is number of household in the country. Similarly, if you go on checking, so we have been consuming. That's what we become fat. We become burden to the health society. Similarly, individual cause problem. Collectively we fail. So this is a time for resilience, for transformation. It has to begin from us. 550 students are coming. 55 staffs are here. Your wholehearted effort, despite of all your problems at the current scenario, I congratulate management faculty for running the show. And whatever the possible means of assistance we could give, from our side we will give. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, people say great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about incidents, and poor minds talk about people. We listen to many ideas and thought-provoking words from the gentleman. He always inspires us by his unique way of speaking. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful and inspirational words of wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the most significant moment of this event. May I kindly invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sivakolundu Sri Sakkunaraja, and our Chief Editor, Mrs. Priya Muralidharan, to release the conference proceedings. The conference editorial committee received 74 extended abstracts. Among that, 71 extended abstracts were blind refereed using subject specialists in the relevant areas, and 43 abstracts under 7 tracks have been accepted and incorporated in this conference publication. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to listen to our keynote speaker. To introduce our keynote speaker to the audience, let me invite Mrs. Sasila Balagobi, Senior Lecturer attached to the Department of Financial Management, on stage. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. It is my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor Darshana Sedera, on the special occasions of 7th International Conference on Contemporary Management conducted by Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna for 2022. Professor Darshana Sedera is a professor of information system at the Southern Cross University in Gold Coast, Australia. He is also Associate Dean in the Faculty of Business, Law and Arts and serves as the Director of Digital Enterprise Lab. He is also Adjunct Professor at the Swinburne University of Technology, Melbourne, Australia, and RMIT University, Melbourne, Australia. He also serves as the visiting professor in University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. He obtained the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from Queensland University of Technology. He is an enthusiast boundary spanner in research, teaching and service in the discipline of information system, innovations, business intelligence, social media and enterprise systems. Professor Sedera has published over 200 peer-reviewed journals in the major refereed journals and conferences. His publications have appeared in the top journals like the Journal of Association for Information System, AIS, the Academy of Management, the Journal of Strategic Information System, Information and Management, Information Technology and People, and Communications of the Association for the Information Systems. There are 27 papers accepted to the International Conference on the Information System, which is the premier conference in the information system discipline. He has over 50 leading international collaborators. Professor Sedera has substantial experience in working with the industry and academia. He has served as the chief investigator of the several ARC grants, both the linkage and discovery, and has received direct industry funding, leading to funding over $1.5 million. Professor Sedera also serves at the several ABDC, A-Star and A-Rank journals editorial boards. Prior to joining the Southern Cross University, Professor Sedera worked as professoriate staff at the Swinburne University of Technology, Monash University and Queensland University of Technology. In 2018, Australian Research Council independent assessor mentioned that Dr. Darshana Sedera is well known and well published academic in the field. He has an impressive list of the high quality publications contributing to the theory and practice. He supervises masters and doctoral students as the principal supervisor and involved as numerous grants, including ARC Discovery and ARC Linkage grants. He serves as the chair of the Special Interest Group for the Enterprise Systems. Professor Cedera is an internationally recognized leader in the field of innovation, entrepreneurship, enterprise system, social media, and outsourcing. His later research publication can be viewed at Google Scholar. He has 5,407 Google citations for his publication. He involved in the various research projects of the organizational strategy for the digital transformation, the dark side of the digital social transformation in the individuals and people, value from enterprise system implementation to use, entrepreneurship and Asia, and etc. He proactively participates in wide range of the service activities in the variety of the domains. Since 2013, he has been organizing a monthly seminar series. Each seminar is given by a leading chief information officer, entrepreneur, or research legend addressing various perspectives of the role of technology in their organization, government, society, and individuals. These events are ideal for the academic practitioners and researchers who are interested in the digital transformation, digital economy, technology innovation, strategy, and governance to collaborate, debate, discuss, and develop the partnership. On behalf of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, I have a great pleasure to invite our keynote speaker, Professor Darshana Cedera, to deliver the valuable keynote speech. Thank you.
Very long introduction. I certainly didn't give that bio, but I'm sure you would have taken that from some place. And yes, it is true. So it's a very humbling experience for me to address this. I personally wanted to visit Jaffna University in person. Unfortunately, the current circumstances in the country, didn't allow me to do that. My apologies for that. But one day we will meet face to face. I'm going to share my screen for a moment, and then you can see that. And if someone gives me the nod to say that you can see it, that would be great. We're at, the previous speaker was also talking about the uncertain times that we are at. I hope you can see the screen. All good? Right. Thank you. Thank you. So the uncertain times that we're referring to, I mean, we lost nearly 6 million people due to the COVID pandemic. We have crippling shortage of food, not just in Sri Lanka, everywhere in the world. The food prices have gone up rapidly, even in Australia. In the US, the inflation is rampant. People who want to travel, even in these difficult circumstances. This is a picture of Brisbane Airport 2 days ago. There are lengthy delays of travel. There are chip shortages which affect not just cars, but also pretty much everything in the world that has any electronic power in it. Natural calamities are increasing. And again, this is a picture from Queensland a couple of months ago. There's what they used to call once in 200 event floods are occurring every 4 months. There are wars erupting from unusual quarters of the world, including the Ukraine-Russia war. So this is a very unpleasant time for most of us, even to think in this kind of a scenario. But we're talking about resilience today. We're talking about what we can do as human beings, as organizations, as universities, to withstand this. And I'm relatively young in this audience. But I think those who have seen much worse than this also have realized and also have evidenced us that the resilience, the human resilience, is far greater than some of these catastrophes that we are facing. And the message is that we will come through this without an issue. But my keynote is going to be on a particular angle that we can find this resilience. This is the amount of, or the percentage of unemployment in the US. Some of the statistics that I've derived for this keynote are pertaining to some countries only, but you can get the bigger picture by enlarging it or by amplifying it. 14.7% unemployment was seen in the US in 2021. This is especially due to the pandemic. But now this is an extremely difficult situation. 14.7 is an extremely high unemployment rate for any organization, any country. But on the other hand, 2021 demonstrated the largest amount of new business applications in the US, amounting to over 1.5 million. So now, two sides of the story. From one side, people are losing their jobs. On the other side, you see this tremendous business growth in terms of new business applications. 1.5 million. This is more than 25% compared to year from 2020 2021. This is nearly 50% more than the last financial crisis that US particularly faced in 2018. So something is happening here, and I'm coming to that point. In terms of these new business applications, there's something that is dominant. And again, I don't need to tell to the audience what it is. The startups are digital. This 1.5 million startups, the majority of them are digital. So that is the premise of my discussion or my keynote today, transforming business in the new normal. And here the new normal is constantly fluctuating, constantly disruptive, and disruptive for very good reasons and sometimes not so good reasons. And I'm going to look at this entire disruption, the transformation of businesses in this new normal from a digital technology perspective. And that is my expertise, like the kind introduction provided to me on. So this is some of the things that sort of builds on my credibility. And I highlight the other person in this particular screen. I'm also the executive director of the Digital Enterprise Lab, which is an initiative at the Southern Cross University, through which we discuss, we meet, we have keynotes from top world entrepreneurs. This is Jayant Jha, who's in our neighboring country in India. If you search on him, you would find that he's a Forbes 1000 recipient for young entrepreneur. His business is completely digital. His business is about recycled mobile phones or reselling mobile phones. His platform sells more mobile phones than any other platform in a country like India, and the digital ecosystem that he has built around that. So it's amazing. The second part of that last banner in that screen is about Sap University Academy. Companies like SAP today, one of the largest software companies in the world for enterprise solutions, are today thinking about meeting this disruptive world, how to meet these needs of the disruptive business, and how to address some of the business challenges that we have. So we agree that from one point that we have these catastrophic changes taking place. We agree on the other side that there are some opportunities that other individuals see from the 1.5 million applications, as an example that I have demonstrated. So in light of this, we have seen some other growths as well. There are digital companies that had grown with zero capital investment, 400% per week-to-week basis. There are banks that are pure digital that had grown to 1.2 billion customers in just 2 years. How did they do that? In an environment where we call it completely dynamic, completely filled with unplanned events. On the other hand, there are new things that are emerging that we have not seen before, and I'll use one example in the speech about this one. This is the nature of the digital that allows us to create some authentic and what we could not do before, classical masterpieces. So is it possible to do that? On the other hand, we see companies that are maintaining not just global leadership, but global leadership in 10 completely different product lines or service lines. How is that possible? Again, in in this world of chaos, or in this world of change? How do you make legislation for these services, right? How do you make legislation for services if services are free, and then you have nearly about 70% of the market share of a country? How do you advertise to an individual product through this hypermarket segmentation? How do you do that? And there are some implications, let's say, on social media and other things as well. So I'm going to talk about this change that is taking place, and the response coming from the digitalization, the digital influences. And I'm going to talk about this in three different business levels. I will give some examples of how this can be done in strategy, some issues and strategies in governance, and some implications for ethics as well. And at any point, again, I can see there are nearly 150 participants online or offline. If you have any questions, anything, propose them. I think more than a keynote, just by listening to one person, we can make this into a conversation. Some of you know this sign very well, the Amazon. And this is where I was going to say that the example of one company commanding not just one line of business, but multiple lines of business. How do they do that? And I'll come to that point. The way they started the business with books, now if you look at it, they're into logistics, they're into technology provision through cloud, e-commerce, e-readers, streaming, movie reviews, payments. Jeff Bezos, the chairperson of Amazon, once made this claim where he said that when someone watches my Amazon Prime, which is the cheapest streaming service available in Australia, nearly 50% cheaper than the nearest rival. And he said that when someone is watching this, I'm not interested in what they're watching. I'm interested in how they would buy the pair of shoes that the lead actor or the actress is wearing through my e-portal. You see how the business is now taking, it is not about streaming. It is neither about selling products either. It is cloud, it is e-commerce, it is streaming, it is logistics. So today, if you see, the biggest provider of cloud is Amazon. Today you see the biggest rival to the traditional logistics company is Amazon. Today, if you see the biggest rival to the traditional publication houses is Amazon. So it's an unusually diverse environment that they have able to capture using a digital footprint. And I'll explain how that the modern business, whether you're a coffee shop, whether you're selling vegetables, or whether you're doing anything else, could take advantage of the principles of Amazon in order to take advantage of this turbulent environment that we have today. I want you to think about this perspective as well when we come to that discussion. This is an image. It's called the New Rembrandt. This New Rembrandt was created not just by one artist, and it is not by any artist actually. It was created by ING and Microsoft Group. And what they did was that they looked at artificial intelligence and 3D printing principles to do this. They looked at 346 paintings of Rembrandt. They captured the eyes, they captured the expressions, they captured everything else about Rembrandt paintings. They looked at 400 plus facial expressions, 6,000 landmarks that have been denoted in Rembrandt paintings. And who created this? Data analysts, 20 data analysts who worked on this, and 20 professors who had worked on this to create what's called New Rembrandt. This was just an experiment to demonstrate the capabilities of artificial intelligence. Even the art galleries could not find, the traditional art galleries could not find anything that is not attributed to a traditional Rembrandt in this particular painting, but is completely digitally created. This was sold for 12.5 million euros. Now you imagine the capabilities. You imagine the capabilities that I talked about at the organizational level for Amazon. You imagine the capabilities that the technology has provided to us. Now this is sort of like the backdrop to the rest of the part that I'm going to talk to you about. So in any organization, Whether again you're a very small organization, you're a startup, or whether you're a very mature organization, you would have these kind of tensions between single products, multiple products. You can substitute that with single services or multiple services. On the other axis, what you have would be your single customer or multiple customer. And when I say single customer, the emphasis or one-to-one emphasis that one needs to have with single customer. So what are typical single products? And what I'm trying to emphasize here is that how you develop a model of resilience using a digital footprint or using your digital platforms to create this impact. Typically, the automobiles, consumer products, financial services are single product, single customer. In other words, I could go and buy a car. I could go and take a loan. I could go and deposit money. And usually, in the traditional business sense, that the transaction finishes off there, and that's about it. But what does digital do into this place? And the example that I can give you is from BMW. And today, most of the BMWs sold in the developed nations would come with satellite navigation that are full with artificial intelligence. They would show where a BMW customer could take privileged parking when you go to a city, where a BMW customer could take privileged access to lounges in airports, where a BMW customer, now those two things you might think that are at an excessive level, but where a BMW customer could have a coffee that has been rated highly. How do they do that? When in your satellite navigation for individual driver, you'll be prompted at places where you can have preferential treatment for owning a BMW. You see now, they have become Amazon of cars. Then the same model has been implemented by other companies as well. Audi and Mercedes are two other examples. So what are they doing? They're moving from that single product, single customer, using a digital platform, moving into the other side. Today, if you go into the KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, you would find that you could do your booking, travel booking, travel seat selection using Facebook. But that's probably like old fashioned. But they do one thing more. They would make sure that you sit next to someone of similar likings through artificial intelligence and digital platform data that they have curated and gathered. These are additional things that one could take to serve the customer, to serve the product, moving from single one-to-one, single product, single customer to other spectrums of activities. Then if you take the single customer against the multiple product examples, you would find the iPads, the iPhones, the Samsungs that we have grown immensely, not because it is a product that you have, but they have built an ecosystem. And when you take Kindle, today we talk about ebooks. So they've moved away from the physical asset of a product to have supplementary products around it. Now take that idea to a traditional brick and mortar business like Best Buys. Now when you say Best Buys, one could argue that, hey, there's one of the largest retailers in the world. But that's not what it is. You take the principles of that, how you move into it. As long as we can do that, you can do that for travel, you can do that for groceries, you can do that for retailing, you can do that for even education. The second or the third aspect that one could look at is that going from single product into multiple customers, and our typical WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and all the other social media come into play. But what is beyond advertising there? So if you look at it, right, we all know that how they are facilitated or how they're promoting their business models through advertising. But moving away from that multiple customer to a single, from single product to a multiple customer, how can they supplement their business models? And today what you see is that how they integrate other product suites around it. So my example of Royal Dutch Airlines, from the Facebook point of view, you would find that how Facebook is facilitating other businesses to arise from that. Then you also have other things like WeChat and Amazon, Paytm kind of things, which provides the entire ecosystem of entire daily life mimicked you can go into WeChat. You can go into WeChat to chat. Obviously, you can do communication, you can bank, you can buy houses, you can buy groceries, you can do every single thing on that. That is going into multiple products, multiple services, and multiple customers. But what they wanted to demonstrate there is that not just that we do this as an individual service, but it can be accelerated at scale as well. But what we need to realize is that how do they do that? And this is a typical ecosystem of technologies that we have to date. And I've highlighted few things for our discussion. In-memory computing, cloud computing, deep learning, blockchain, and this fashion of blockchain, ubiquitous, 3D, smart. All of these things have provided organizations with an amazing capability which we did not have before. Why do we say that we did not have before? Because there was a time, in order for a company to do something using any IT, that they have to use lots of money. Put the money first, then you buy a computer or a server or a product or a software product for you to run. Today, because of cloud, because of analytics, because of mobility, today, much of the systems that we access today either are free or are available on subscription-based systems. In other words, that I don't need to pay $30,000 for a system. I can pay as I go using a $20 per month subscription license. There was a time that SAP systems, the large enterprise systems, large ERP systems, used to cost several $100 million. Today, the same system will be available for each employee at $12 a month. You see the difference that had happened. This is because of the technology change. And this is why that if I relate to the earlier discussion that I had about the new business arising, 1.5 new business applications turning up just in America in 2021. And I said, compared to 2018, there is a 50% increase, 28 during a time of a financial recession. Now, what has changed during that time to this time? It's a short period of time. What has changed? The only thing that has made a substantial change in a positive way is the technology. The technology has become affordable. Technology has become subscription-based. Technology has become near zero. Today, when we talk about this using Zoom, you are thousands of kilometers away. I'm thousands of kilometers away from Jaffna. This does not cost us a cent. This technology was expensive some time ago. This technology was only available to the privileged few organizations of video conferencing and etc. And today this becomes near a free service, except for the internet services that we both pay. As a result of what we have is this digital first foundation. In other words, that any business today, and I stress this, any business today, whether you're small, big, regardless of the sector, I think must take a digital first strategy, which allows someone to look at from a data-driven business point. During the pandemic, I had the privilege of talking to one of the largest event management companies. Now you can imagine during the pandemic, this company is based in Singapore, and through the Entrepreneurs Circle program that we have, he took part in several conversations and provided keynotes for our sessions. Now imagine an event management company could not have events or could not hold events during the pandemic. However, this company survived, not only survived, they improved their business. How? Through data-driven business thinking. He found out that this company based in Singapore, he found out that yes, we cannot do physical events, but he found out people are stuck at home. People are interested in doing some team building work, group work in the virtual setting. Data-driven business modeling. Giant Jai in his mobile refurbishment business is data-driven. He deploys products and service care packages based on the very data that he obtains from the Indian consumer market. There's a whole heap of trialability that you can do. How? We have spoken to CIOs, chief information officers, who had gone into offices and said that, hey, here is X amount of money, go figure out what you can do to resolve this issue. They're looking at quick technology fixes right now, which allows trialability. It is okay. There's a strong term now being used in business, fast fail. It is okay to fail it fast, learn it from it, then move on. The trialability allows organizations to use technologies, again, technologies that are either zero cost or available on subscription basis, to trial new things. Universities are doing this right now. Publication houses are doing this right now. Movie makers are doing it right now. It doesn't matter which sector that you belong to. There's a growth of partnerships that we have. Yesterday, I had the privilege of having yesterday and day before yesterday, 6 hours of workshops by academics from Calamities University. The partnership connections. Today, I'm sitting again in Australia, connecting with Sri Lanka. Yesterday, Sri Lankan academics connected with our university. These partnerships could not have been possible. Now, we're talking about video conferences, but not just that. Today, the workforce itself, and especially thanking to the pandemic, and I mean it, that people have learned that we can learn, we can work, we can collaborate from various parts of the world. And this is a massive asset. The lag time that individuals used to have in working, and this is nothing new. This has been there for a long period of time. But as a result of new technologies emerging, the idea articulation, the idea promotion, the sharing of knowledge has become near seamless and is almost becoming individual face-to-face kind of a discussion. There are lots of platforms taking place right now. These platforms, again, allow the like-minded businesses to come and work, to come and play, to come and sell their things. eBay is a great example, and that's just one of the traditional ones. But if you see in Sri Lanka, there are new digital platforms emerging. These platforms are not just for buying things. There are platforms for learning things. There are platforms for sharing things, and they keep emerging throughout the pandemic and also now, which allows organizations to take part in the resilience discussion. Another important thing is at scale, and especially at a time of global disturbances, what individuals or the investors are scared to do is to invest money up front. They're happy to support a business when they start growing. So if you go into today Google, the Google business suites that are providing this facility, and I'm using Google as only one example, you would find that how Google allows businesses to take part in this subscription basis to grow at scale. And there are great examples of how Snapchat, for example, through Google Cloud Services, managed to increase their computer footprint as and when the business was rising or growing. And these are important things that we have to really consider. The convenience of things. Individuals today will expect, and this goes to all our students as well. Students will expect, we as customers expect the companies that we're dealing with to recognize us as an individual, to recognize us as an individual footprint in their large ecosystem. So today, if I go to Amazon, which is one of the largest retailers in the world, today, if I go into Amazon, you would find that, Darshana, in the past, you had purchased this, and this. Are you interested in either buying something complementarily, or repurchase things that you have purchased? So these are important things that we have realized through the digital. And there's a customer base that are growing, what we call the tech savvy customers, the Gen Z, the digital natives who are absolutely tech savvy to be engaged in organizations, which again provides this resilience that we can take. But can we take this for granted? No, there's a component of governance. Some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. 1.5 years ago, Facebook stopped all products and services to Australia. They restricted posts like news, they posted, they stopped web pages of Red Cross Australia. They posted every single thing that required them to have some legislative relaxation. Now, this went on for 3 full days in Australia. Facebook stopping their services. And there was a huge panic in the business. This is all in response to the Australian government asking Facebook to pay a fair share of their income by reposting things of news in Facebook. In other words, the ABC Australia could repost things on Facebook, and Australian government was asking, can you pay a subscription or an amount for this, because this is news generated by someone else and you're posting it in Facebook. And Facebook responded to that in this particular way, which meant that none of these organizations could have access to Facebook, period. And it came up with great criticism of Australian public as well as the Australian politicians. So we have this great reliance on certain things, and all of a sudden they can change their the access model. And today, if you think that if Facebook starts charging 2 cents a transaction or 2 cents per day on each of their membership that they have, well, what's going to happen? Or if they start charging for some privilege access, what will happen? So these are governance things that we got to be absolutely careful about. We know also the other side of the dark side of the governance of digital assets as well. And we've known this through things like Cambridge Analytica, what happened in our elections, in our conversations, what they listen, how they listen. So there's a great amount of restrictions that we need to take as well. There's a third side that I'd like to highlight, which is the ethics side of digitalization. And the ethics side is sometimes at the individual level as well as at the organizational level. Now, one of the studies that we've done, which also featured in BBC Futures, was that on how much of this digital services clutter our lives, right? So today, if one takes someone's individual footprint, you would see that there's a whole heap of technologies, systems, devices that are being connected to us. One of the studies that we did was that we did identify what we call digital hoarding, collection of digital assets within the individual, and this happens at the organizational level as well. And we looked at how these principles of traditional hoarding, which is actually a psychological illness that takes place in the modern individual in working with them. And not just that, there's another thing called what's called Atlaphobia. This is also a study that we've done. We've demonstrated that how we would like, because of digital services, things to be perfect, things to be aligned, perfectionism in simple terms, how that occurs and what are the consequences of that. The social media. So if today a company becomes resilient, there's a natural tendency that they would say, like, we have to have social media presence. But is that necessary? Who are we catering for? Amongst which of these 1,000 social media platforms do I access all of them? Do I have to access all of them? Or do we access only the dominant ones? Do we access the regional ones? Some of you probably have heard about the story of Yohani in Sri Lanka, who became a YouTube sensation. We were privileged to study her management philosophy around digital social strategy, and we've made a publication out of that as well, involving with Peta Effect and Thivra, the two companies that managed her. And we looked at, in a very beautiful way, how they narrate the entire story of Yohani and the songs associated with Yohani to make her into a YouTube sensation. And what we saw there was that there are regionality impacts that takes place when you move from, let's say, Sri Lanka to India, from India to Dubai. In these kind of geographical locations, certain social media either are sanctioned or sometimes are much more prominent. Some features in the same digital platform, say Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or other social media platforms, in the same platform, how does one move from one geographic location to another? Then the features also change. The tone of it also change. How does this work? And there are some studies we've done on that as well. So to use in that mix of social media and other systems that are available. We also have the risk of sometimes losing the entire subscription nature as a result of either public social axing of social media sites. And something happened that in Sri Lanka some time ago, if you recall the riots between two community groups in, I think, 2012 or 2013 in the city of Digana in near Kandy. The government stopped social media use for about 3-4 days. We looked at during that time how the individuals, how in Sri Lanka, the individual's mindset changes, how the anxiety level rises as a result of not being able to access their social media, how the businesses increase their anxiety as a result of not having their social media platform access. And then we also do quite a bit of research on how the review system, right? So the simple like or dislike or commenting, the commentary or the review systems that organizations play. There's heavy criticism that sometimes that these ratings, the 5-star ratings that you see in Google reviews or the other review systems like TripAdvisor or other things, that you find that this 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, thumbs up, thumbs down are heavily rigged systems. There's heavy criticism for Amazon that nearly, in some cases, in some companies, nearly 90% of their reviews are fake reviews. So how do we deal with this kind of thing as well? On the other hand, you would also find that reviews themselves could take a company right to the bankruptcy if there's unscrupulous reviews are engaging with them to play foul news on certain business. And these things that happen over and over again. So how you need to have a mechanism to counteract them. What this shows is that this trajectory of things, that what they show to you is that, one, yes, there is resilience that one could derive through digital assets, digital platforms, systems, technologies, devices, technology-savvy individuals, etc. It can, yes, of course, generate strategies. One could move away from that, the axis that I showed you earlier. But it also shows that there is a danger in doing so. There's a need of governance within the organization. There was another study that we had done, colloquially stating it as taming the digital dragon. Why is it a digital dragon? Because today, with the large amount of innovations that are taking place, the organizations themselves do not have time do not have the capacity, do not have the willingness to contain this the propagation of digital assets. One example that I can give you, there's a large logistics company in the world, or probably one of the largest logistics companies in the world. Their CIO, located in Australia, he didn't know that there were systems in Norway and Sweden and other parts of the Scandinavian world that that they even existed. How come? He's the CIO, he's the chief information officer. He should have known about it. And when we investigated the reasons behind it, what we found was that those states, those countries, those departments, they have a small IT budget that they start developing their own systems. Because why? The systems have become cheaper. Because why? People encourage a little bit of trialability. Because why? It is now capable within the department. You don't need a lot of IT support for it. Today, you and I can cobble up a web page very easily. Today, you and I can cobble up a digital platform to even sell services and products. It is very easy these days. You don't need a large IT team for you to do that. So this has changed. Now, as a result of that, we got to be careful about how we manage things. There's a level of compliance that is expected from every business, regardless of which stage that they are at. That is very, very important for the resilience discussion that we have. Last 2 minutes that I have. We must also think about how this transformation takes place in Sri Lanka. Like the previous speaker said, we are at an extremely difficult time. Sri Lanka is probably facing one of the biggest difficulties in its history. There are few responsibilities that I'll highlight. The very first one is, apart from the political and the judiciary and the executive systems that is available, I think the very first responsibility stops with us as academics. As academics, to critique, to discuss fearlessly, openly, and profoundly, with any partisan bias, about the policies and procedures that are taking place and hold government accountable. And that's extremely important. And there's a second part as well, or the second entity, that is the media. And I feel that these two entities, the academics and the journalists must be fearless. If you look at Western world, if you look at developed countries, why they have become developed is because of these two entities, by and large. They question, they hold the individuals accountable to do certain things in the correct procedure that they have outlined. In Sri Lanka, there is a third part. In every society that we take today, there's a wide amount of corruption. If I lived in Sri Lanka for a very long period myself, and I know I have skipped the lines, I know I have use some influence to get things done. That is absolutely wrong. I think when that stops, the Sri Lankan political system can also be rectified. I think when the academics take the responsibility of writing, discussing things that are important to the country, then there will be change. I think when there's media, the journalists that will take this discussion in an investigative journalist fashion, not just to report it. We have reporting a lot. We have a lot of YouTubers who give their ideas a lot. No, but investigate it. The investigative journalism, the investigative academia is very important. I'll also highlight one small thing. When I looked at the proceedings that were sent to me, I was a little bit shaken to see that there were no papers, and I highlight again, there were no papers whatsoever about the current circumstances that we are facing in Sri Lanka. I think we need to, this is where I see that there's a disconnect. In academic world, and that's not unique to Sri Lanka, that is everywhere in the world. The academic world sometimes is, we sit in ivory towers, we're a little bit away from the reality. Don't make that happen. Right now, you're thinking, your papers, if you look at some of the papers today and the rest of the time that the conference is on, you got to be focusing on the exact issues that people are facing, regardless of the tone and the tune of the university. I think that's very important. I again thank you very much for this, giving me this opportunity. I personally wanted to come and visit the Jaffna University, but like I said earlier, unfortunately we could not do that. But there will be a time that we can do that. Please keep us connected through any form or shape that we have available. If there are any questions, any queries, I'm more than happy to take part in any discussions that on behalf of Southern Cross University. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your enlightening and informative presentation on the right way to apply the business model in new normal. We appreciated having this mysterious area clarified. Please accept our sincere thanks. Finally, I call upon Ms. Dasika Jogeswaran to deliver her word of thanks.
Very good afternoon to all. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna, and on my own behalf, I extend very hearty vote of thanks here. Let me first of all start by giving to Almighty God for making today's occasions as a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our Vice Chancellor, University of Jaffna, General Chair of this conference, Professor Sri Satgunaraja, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion and his words of encouragement. On behalf of the team of ICCM 2022, we are grateful to our Dean, Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Jaffna, Professor B. Nimaladasan, for his continued support, guidance, and encouragement in all our efforts. I also express my heartfelt gratitude to our keynote speaker, Executive Dean, Faculty of Business and Arts and Law, Professor of Information System, Southern Cross University, Gold Coast, Australia, Zen, for gladly accepting our invitations, for being as a keynote speaker of our conference. Sir, please accept our sincere appreciations for fascinating keynote address on the theme of transforming business in the new normal and the governments. Hope all the academics who are gathered here will listen that advice that you gave at the end of the presentation. I would like to record our sincere thanks to the convener of 7th International Conference on Contemporary Management, Dr. S. Achudan, for his minute-to-minute guidance and hard work providing for organizing this conference as a grateful event. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for the efforts of Chief Editor and entire editorial committee for their hard work and commitment towards the success of the conference. I also wish to express my gratitude in all the members in all the committees in ICCM 2022, academic staff and non-academic staff who work hard to ensure the occasion becomes a memorable one. I thank the members to the technical committee and VC Media sound system for evincing interest in covering the event's colorful one. I also like to express our sense of obligations to our academic partner, Emerald Publishing, and professional bodies, CA Sri Lanka, CFS Society, ACCA, SLIM, and IBSL, so for their support rendered for making this program success. I would like to thank the Ramanathan Academy of Fine Arts students and lecturers for the colorful performance that you gave for us as a warming sessions. I thank all the distinguished invitees present here for accepting our invitations and wish all the very best all the paper presenters who are going to present their papers in ICCM 2022. Last but importantly, I thank all good hearts who work on screen and behind the screen in making this function a resounding success. Once again, I thank you all for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the inauguration ceremony of ICCM 2022. We cordially invite every one of you to join with us for a fellowship lunch at the canteen block, and we'll meet again around 3 p.m. for the technical session. And thank you so much for your wonderful presence and patience. Stay safe and God bless you all.